Greetings, peace, family. Yes, I'm back with another guided message. I hope everyone is having a great day. I'm at the park, so if you hear some background noise, please ignore it, okay? This is the second day of this here message, okay? Because I meditated on it on yesterday, and today I am going to attempt to record it, okay? So here we are. Today's message: are you living in your ego? Are you living in your ego? Do you live from a place of heart? Do you live from a place of ego? Or are you balanced? Honey, we finna get into it, okay? Because it's hot. I don't have much time. Y'all already know I'm running late. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so it's a lot. I'm going to be flipping back and forth. Okay, just so y'all know. Okay. Ego, your conscious sense of self or identity, that I aspect, okay, that perceives reality, makes decisions, and interacts with the world. It encompasses your self-esteem, beliefs, and how you view your own importance. It can range from a healthy sense of confidence to an inflated, self-centered attitude. Okay, let's break this down, shall we? Ego, your conscious sense. Okay, so that told me right there, you're aware. When you conscious about doing something, you're aware, right? It's not your subconscious, it's your conscious, which means you're making the choice to do it. Which means you're making the choice to do whatever it is that you've chosen to do. Anytime you are not living from your heart space, you are living in ego. If your heart don't have anything to do with the space that you reside in, you are living in total ego. Okay? Which ego doesn't necessarily have to mean narcissistic or self-centered. It could literally, the basis of ego is fear. The basis of ego is fear. How many of y'all living in fear? How many of y'all are living in fear? Because if you are, baby, you are living in ego. If you want to regulate your ego, you must open up your heart. Baby, follow me on YouTube, okay? For the rest of the message. If you want to regulate your ego, you must open up your heart. Now, because I got a note in here. Because your heart got to be righteous. Because if you live in from an unrighteous heart, guess what? Then all of your actions will be unrighteous, right? So opening up your heart and making sure your heart is righteous, light and clear, that's the key, okay? An unrighteous heart will lead to an overactive ego every time. I'm going to say that again. An unrighteous heart will lead to an overactive ego every single time. Sit with that for a second. Because how many of y'all got overactive egos? How many of y'all got overactive egos? And then check in with your heart space and see if it's righteous. When you hear people say they're trying to get their heart and their mind and on one accord, they're trying to balance their ego and their heart, right? Because when you live in a heart space and your heart is regulating your ego, even when you have to make tough decisions, you will check in with your heart first. When you are living in a balanced state of heart and ego, even with any decisions that you make or going about your life or anything, whatever you do, you will check into your heart first. Even if it's something like, hold on, I got an example. Say you want peace in your life, right? You want peace from a person, you want peace from a job, you want just peace from whatever circumstances, right? Your heart may want the peace, But your ego is saying, well, I can't leave this job. I need this money. These people depend on me, blase, blah, blase, blah, right? But when you love yourself and you checking in with your heart to say, okay, yes, I need this money, but do I need to stay here? Is this better for my mental health, right? Is this good for my home life, right? Is my home life suffering from said situation, or is my personal life, whatever is suffering, you need to ask your heart, right? These things, and your heart is telling you these things are suffering. In your heart, you know these things are suffering, but in your ego, right, in your mind, you feel like you can't do it, right? Out of fear. If I leave this job, I won't have enough money. If I leave this person, I won't have this. That's a very egotistical mindset to have, is in fear, right? So to align them, an example would say, okay, you know what? My parents depend on me, right? Or this job, I'm really great with the great friends with the owner, whatever. I don't want to really leave them in this situation. If I just up and quit, okay, I'm going to give them 2 weeks. Because in my heart, I know it's time for me to leave. But my ego is saying, listen, these people depend on you, right? Or these people need you to be here, or whatever the case is. So looking for other alternatives to not mask it, but to solve their issue, right? And remove yourself. And even if you can't, your body, your nervous system will tell you fight or flight, right? And you would just leave anyway. So for instance, what that looks like in a job. Oh, I need to leave this job. My heart is telling me I need to leave this job. I'm really cool with these people. I've been here for 20 years, whatever. I don't want to just leave them like that. Okay, I'm going to let them know, listen, I am moving jobs. Even if you haven't located one, baby, when it's time to go, it's time to go. Okay? And when it's time to go, it's time to go. So even if you haven't located one, but let's say you did locate one, you've located a job, or you haven't located a job. Anyway, you're putting in your 2 weeks notice. Now, in that 2 weeks, if they still haven't found somebody to cover your position, guess what? That doesn't stop you from leaving, right? That's the fight or flight. Your nervous system, that doesn't stop you from leaving. It makes you leave even faster. Okay? When your heart and your ego is balanced, you would then see the confidence in yourself to appreciate who you are and your strengths, but also try to help others see those things within themselves, right? And appreciate who they are within themselves. Does that make sense? But not overly confident to where you don't give a fuck about nobody else. It's just all about me, I. If you're living in a life where it's just you, I, then you're heavily in your ego, okay? It's clear you're trying to compensate for something because you have a fear, because that's where ego is based on. Fear of being less than, right? Or feeling worthless, or not enough, or shamed, embarrassed. This is where the ego originates from, is fear. How many of y'all living in fear? If I admit this, then this makes me feel less than. If I admit that, then I'm ashamed. Why are you ashamed? Why are you taking your life journey and your experiences and making them shameful by living in your ego? Somebody needed this today, because I'm hot and I'm out here for y'all. Being stuck in your ego will have you miss out on telling people you love them, telling people you miss them, apologizing to people, forgiving yourself. Being stuck in your ego will have you to the point where you can't even forgive yourself. You can't even admit to yourself. You can't even admit to yourself without making yourself feel ashamed, without making yourself feel worthless. The person you might need to apologize to may not even see you as worthless, right? They may see you as, wow, you took accountability. But because you told yourself, you had that illusion. You gave yourself the illusion that you were worthless, when reality, you're actually strong, right? Not everybody can take accountability. Not everybody can say, hey, listen, I love you. I apologize. I was wrong. Or, because I don't believe in right or wrong, I was unhealthy. What? Not everybody can do that. So when you can show that kind of strength, that kind of demure, baby, what? Weakness where? Weakness where? Shame where? It doesn't exist when you don't live in ego. People live in ego because it's always easier to blame somebody else. Huh? People live in ego because it's always easier to blame somebody else. Even the Christians, right? They blame the devil. They blame the devil for their own unrighteous acts that they really wanted to do. They had a good time doing it. And then want to go blame the devil. Why? Because living in your ego is always going to be much easier to blame somebody than to take accountability. Oh! Living in your ego is always going to be much easier to blame somebody else than to take accountability. Because if you never took the job that you got offered because you were in fear, listen, if you never fail, right? Or they didn't have it in the place that I wanted it, or, but if you never fail, you never have to feel some kind of way, right? You never have to feel less than. You never have to feel ashamed that you went to this new position and you weren't able to be successful. Fuck the fact that you learned tons while you was over there, even about yourself. But because, thank you, Spirit, but because you can only see it from an ego mindset, I said mind spec. Catch it. Okay, because it's a speck. Child, hold on. Honey, a speck of ego will have you not living the life you desire. You're not in the position you want to be in. You're not with the person you want to be with. You are, because of fear. Because you've allowed fear to keep you from your divine inheritance. Whether it's to leave somebody, you afraid to leave that person because maybe all your bills, they pay all your bills. Baby. So you gonna stay with somebody for money? Oh my God. Most people find it easier to dream about their person, right? Or their passions or their dream job, right? Or talk about it, right? It's like, I would have been successful, but my mama permed my hair when I was 7. Right? It's always easier to have an excuse than to actually go after the person you love, the dream job you want, the life you want, the career you want, whomever, whatever. Is always easier to just think about it and blame it on something else, right? And live in your ego than to actually go for it. Because what if you succeed? When you don't live in ego, you're not afraid of rejection. What? When you're not living in ego, you are not living in fear. When you are living from your heart space, you are living in courage. You know, courage, thank you, Spirit. Courage, the root word of courage is core, which means heart. Literally means heart. Wait, I got something written down. Hold on, y'all. Let me see what I got written. It says, early times, it literally means to speak one's mind by telling all of one's heart. That is what courage means. Go look it up. By me, anything I tell y'all, by all means, go look it up. Courage, the root word is core, which means heart. So anytime you live in from your heart, you live in courageous energy. Anytime you living from the heart, you living in courageous energy. Anytime you living from the ego, you living in fear. Anytime you living in ego, you living in fear. People walking around here acting like they so macho, they so brave, they that bitch, they this, that. Whole time y'all over here scared. Scared of yourselves, scared of the people, scared. No, when you are living in your heart space, you are living in courage. Baby, sit with that for a second. When you allow your ego to control your self-worth, or you tie your self-worth to your ego, that means that how you feel, you always have to be right. You always have to be validated, right? You can never feel ashamed, or you always feel ashamed. When your ego is tied to your self-worth, you always have to feel like you're in control. Otherwise, you feel less than. Otherwise, you're ashamed of yourself. Otherwise, you compare yourself to other people. Are you doing these things? Because if you are, you're literally taking away the aspects of learning lessons. Because how could you always be right? That would suggest you know everything. Do you know everything? No, you don't. So if you already understand that you don't know everything, then how could you possibly be right about everything? Perfection is when you're being authentic, not pretending to be right. Ooh. Perfection is being authentic, not pretending to always be right. How many people out here pretending to be authentic? No. How many people are pretending to be authentic? No, that's not how this works. Being perfect is when you're authentic, not pretending you are. Being perfect is being authentic, not pretending you are. Baby, I'm perfect. I keep telling y'all that. I keep telling people I am perfect. And there is so many other perfect people. And I love meeting other perfect people. People who are authentic to themselves, who are true to whoever they are. Baby, I love meeting them. I love it. I love meeting perfect people. People with a mask, y'all can keep that. Of course, I put y'all down here some characteristics of living in your ego. Okay, what do we got? Do you have to argue your point every time? Do you have to feel like you won? Baby, do you feel the need to overly brag about yourself and your accomplishments? Well, you know, I went and got me 17 degrees. Child, what, you was a career student? Oh, do you take constructive criticism as an attack? Can somebody tell you something about yourself without you feeling attacked? Hold on. Must you feel the need to dominate every conversation you're in? Because if so, you need some work like that car. Do you feel the need to dominate every conversation that you are in? Baby, what? That sounds exhausting. Can you only see your needs and wants and no one else's? Is it all about you? It's all about me. Forget about you. Do you have to feel validated all the time? Somebody got to come stroke your ego all the time? Baby, who about to do that? That sounds exhausting. When you don't live in ego, there is no fear, there is no insecurities, right? So this is how you're able to care about other people. Other things outside yourself, the collective. I could have very well been like, I'm not doing these videos. I know what I need to know. And I know, but I care about y'all. I care about how y'all live. I care about the planet and how y'all look at and view the planet. I care about you and how you view yourself, how you look at yourself, right? I want everybody to live within their heart space, because when you have courage, you can do anything. you can be anybody you want to be as long as you are being authentic in that. Right? Hold on, y'all. Let me see if Spirit got anything else, okay? Because this was kind of a long message. When you're trying to activate your God energy, ego is there is nowhere for God to reside in ego. What God got fear? God is courageous, right? God is authentic. So when you are trying to regulate your God aspect, realize that as long as you live in a place of ego, as long as you live in a place of fear, you will never activate your God inside. Because that's not where God can reside. God is love. Living from your heart is courageous. That's where God resides. Okay, baby, you needed this today. Since ego is a conscious decision, then that means you can choose to choose something other than fear. You can choose courage versus fear, right? And make no mistake, courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It just means doing it despite of the fear. What? Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means doing it anyway, with the fear still there. Okay? This was for you. Make the choice to make the change, to choose to change your life. Make the choice to make the change, to choose to change your life. Live within your heart. Live with courage. Okay? Set the ego aside. Set the fear down. It's only real if you said it is. All right? All right, that's it. Listen, choose to be authentic. Choose to live within your heart because that's where the courage is. Don't live within fear. Remove your ego. Balance it with your heart. And whatever decision you need to do, check in with your heart. Because that's how you know when you're in alignment and you're balanced, when your heart and your ego can agree. Okay? Listen, this was for you. I'm not even going to say I don't need to know who this was for. I don't know. No, if you're watching my video, it was for you. So I'm going to start saying, listen, baby, you needed this today. You needed this today. And here it is. All right. Listen, peace, power, and love to you guys. May abundance of all good things, all great things, okay, find you today and every day after. Okay. May your journey be blissful and smooth. May your life be easy as ease is your birthright. All right. Peace and power to you guys. Later.